Well, the Transport Secretary Grant Shapps has said the government are ready to draw up laws requiring minimum numbers of rail staff to work during a strike. The law would make any industrial action illegal if those levels were not met.
The announcement comes as a ballot of 40,000 union members across 16 rail networks are due to close on Tuesday. The General Secretary of the Rail, Maritime and Transport Union has warned that a strike would bring the country to a standstill in what has been predicted to be the biggest rail strike in modern history.
Well, we have political commentator Portia Berry-Kilby here to discuss with us. Portia, this is, the headline that has really grabbed us this morning on the Sunday Telegraph. Tories in threat to torpedo unions. It really does evoke Thatcher versus the unions in the 1980s, doesn't it? How much power do unions have in this country, and do we need to take some sort of control?
I think at this point in time, unions have far too much power. When they were initially created and set up, the conditions of work were far worse than they are today. And there's a clear point for their existence back then to lobby the government for fair conditions. But at this point, no one's really working in awful conditions. They have a fair wage. And should the government really be held to ransom over a few pounds more or a slight pay rise? No. So Grant Shapps, by saying that there will not be kind of all power to the unions, is making a stand and saying that things have to change, and unions, all very well and good, can represent to some extent, but also can't kind of hold a gun to the government's head to get what they want.
Portia, aren't unions necessary? Because if you're unhappy at work, and if enough of you are unhappy at work and the management doesn't listen to you, then you need to have some sort of representation to put to the management, and if you have to, then you need to go on strike.
Well, I think we need to have strike as the last resort, not the first resort. And increasingly, it seems that it's the first resort. And I think in this particular instance with the rail networks, this comes at a time when everyone's facing a cost of living crisis. People have had their wages frozen. They are not unique in this circumstance. And by creating even more complications to people's commute to work, it might threaten other people's ability to earn money. It doesn't really seem the most sensible or even the most compassionate of decisions to take a strike at this point when they've not exhausted other avenues.